task ahead of us, but I believe in guys like us because, again, we're gonna go 105 or 110% no matter what, and we're almost not even tracking the results. And that doesn't mean we don't track our KPIs and our metrics, but it's like I see the end goal, and then I'm gonna make that happen. So there's to think like possibly or maybe or hopefully I scrap all that because it's gonna happen. And my dad said, "Well, I hope things are gonna work out for your son." And I'm like, I wonder why he says that. But I'm like, it's gonna work out.
Well, at least you had a dad that was like, "Oh, I hope it works out for you," and at least supportive, mildly supportive. And I don't know, maybe that's part of what my success is about, is because I had the dad that was, okay, one of my old stories, when I was 13 years old, I drew out a plan for fusion reaction. This is how I was when I was like 12 or 13. I love drawing science fiction stuff. Yeah. Planning out, scientific results on it. I had things listed out and how it would work. And we'd actually use the they call it oh man, now I forgot the word, but it's like a tachomac. It's the weird
tachometer.
No, it's I had to look up the word. It's a donut shaped tachomac fusion.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't know that one. Never even heard that phrase.
Oh, it is tokamak. Yeah, I said it right. Yeah, tokamak. So it's a donut-shaped fusion reactor, and what it basically does is it concentrates using magnets and high velocity, and it fuses it into the center at certain speeds, and that fusion then gets distributed through energy through pylons that would go inverted pylons. Kind of like when you see like black holes, massive black holes, and they shoot literally like a laser beams out the south and north end of their.
I've seen it. I've seen pictures.
So I just took that same vision. I was like, well, if that's how nature makes it work, then why can't we do that in a lab? So I designed it and I created it. And I took this whole thing to my dad and I showed him, because I was so proud of it. And he literally, I remember, I don't want to make him seem like an evil guy or anything, but I remember when I was so happy to show him, and he looked at it and he said, "What is this nonsense? Why don't you go work on something actually productive?" Yeah. And so, sure enough, I threw that away and just got thought it was garbage and whatever, and lost my whole inspiration. And when I was 17 or 18, I remember I saw in Popular Science magazine my exact same plans that I had drawn were in that magazine. Like actually almost the exact same thing. I remember ever since that day, like I kind of hated my dad. Like you killed my inspiration. You were the firefighter onto my fire, So, but they kind of did the reverse reaction where it was like I was motivated negatively. And that's kind of like what I've seen is, even with my students, you've got to read, like, some people you can motivate certain ways, and other people you got to motivate certain ways. And it's unfortunate, but if you can learn how to balance it and use it and understand who you're teaching, you can use that to their benefit. And sometimes they're going to hate you for it. But then if you can just not be their friend, but coach them the way that they are psychologically capable of being coached, and they can finally get over their own hump and get past that. Sure, they'll hate you for a little bit, but then once they get past that, you just praise them. Say, "Hey, we got you there. It sucks that we had to do it the way we did it, but we got you there."
I guess, like you said, like anything like that operates in nature. Like there has to be some stripping down before you can rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, the Marines do it. They've been doing it for so long. They strip you down, they rebuild you back up. So, but there are some people too that don't learn that way, and so some people need to be nurtured and praised and constantly like just patted on the back, and that's okay too. It's whatever your way of learning is, and that's the most difficult part. But because growing up with my mom being super supportive and my dad being completely unsupportive, I guess I saw the best of both worlds, and I was able to grow from there and just figure out my own path. So daddy issues.
I think my dad, he taught me how to work hard, and I say my dad didn't teach me anything about business, but I guess if you look at the underlying principles, I guess I don't mean that, because he taught me, be honest. He's like, all you have is your word. He says, if you don't have your word, then you're nothing. And I'm like, I'm going to remember that. He said, don't ever bully anybody, don't ever pick on anybody, don't ever let anybody pick on you. I'm going to remember that too, that's a good one. And then I was raised with spirituality and religion, and of course I got away from it in my 20s when I thought I was smarter than everybody else.
Of course, yeah.
But now making full circle, I'm like, yeah, that spiritual backbone that I was raised with is like, now it's my superpower. I do feel mega, mega strong in that. I feel like if I'm stay grounded in my faith, all this physical stuff, it doesn't motivate me the way that it used to, because I feel very well grounded in other aspects of my life. But it's also like a heavy driver. So it's like he gave me a foundation of spirituality. Be honest, always do the right thing, and just work hard. That's it.
So, like, spiritually, when I try to connect with people, people, when they hear the word spiritual, they think, oh, Christian. No, I mean, that's just...
You're missing the boat. Missing the whole entire shit.
If I say language, do you think Chinese? Do you think English? No. Language is language.
It's language.
Spiritual is just spiritual. And the reason why I talk to people about becoming centered with their spirit is because it's not about what you believe. It's about believing in yourself and knowing where you sit above and among everybody else. Because it's really easy, especially now, getting entrenched in the mud and the muck of all the news and the negativity and all that stuff. But if you're spiritual, it allows you to get away from that, separate yourself from that, cleanses you, and it just allows you to lift yourself above it. And it doesn't have to do with Jesus carrying you. It doesn't have to do with anything. It's just yourself getting your own chi lined and getting above the muck. And then you have a clear vision of whatever beliefs you want to believe in. That's great. But just how do you see it when you kind of talk about spiritual stuff with your friends? And do they start picking into the religions and like getting specific with it, or are they very kind of just ambiguous with their spirituality?
I think my closest circle of friends, we're all, Hispanic Mexicans from South Texas, so we all have that, inherent religious upbringing of Jesus Christ and that kind of stuff.
Catholic kind of.
So around that circle, it's like we all know our basic beliefs, but we don't sit around and read the Bible and talk to each other and that kind of stuff. But I do, when we do bring up God, it's like I said, you kind of already have that side of your belief system. But then when I talk to people that I don't know or that I've met more recently in business, a lot of people will shut down. You say spirituality, and I see a lot of people bashing religion holds you back. And I'm like, that's interesting, because my religion makes me be able to expand into anything that I want to be. So I'm like, that's an interesting view no matter what. But then they say spirituality, and again, I don't really believe in that. I don't believe in God. It's like they're so cool to label something and then dismiss it as untrue or not helpful without even exploring it. Mm-hmm. And so I look at spirituality. You can look at it from two different sides, and these are your extreme opposites that you get. You get religion, and then you get the extreme spirituality where almost some people believe there is no God, there is no religion, there's just all energy and electricity and all that stuff. And I think there's some truth to both sides of everything, because I think everything kind of comes back full circle. So what I look at is this. I look at God, or whatever that entity that people think that spiritual higher power is. What if it was only pure electricity, pure positive energy, pure abundance, right? Why would you not want to connect to that? So I don't believe in God. I don't believe in it. I don't believe it's but you're disconnecting yourself. From the most valuable, abundant source of power in the whole planet. And but I don't need that, or I don't want that. And then they wonder why their life is not going, and why they're not maximizing their life. It's well, you have an unlimited source of electricity that you're denying. You're creating a wall between yourself and that. And I don't care what you call it, that behavior just is strange. It seems unhealthy.
It's kind of the hermit lifestyle, where it's if you choose not to believe anything, that's your prerogative. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with it is when fat people keep eating cake and then they complain that they're fat.
Yeah.
Stop complaining that you're poor, that you don't have anything, that your life's not working out for you, when your entire mindset is to just be sheltered away from everything positive. You're doing this to yourself. You're digging your own hole.
I have a friend, he's a really, really darn good friend, and he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in post things about Jesus and kind of making fun of and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I tend to unblock. Not block him, but I unfollow him. I don't want to see that. You're my friend, and I don't I think the stereotypical Christian, Judeo-Christian that they try to portray in the fake news is that, if you believe in religion, then you're anti everything else. Like, I don't think there's that much separation. I mean, like if
you're either religious or you're scientific.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I mean, but you see this in everything. You see this in all the social politics. You see it in all of the media. You see it on Facebook. Social apps. There's a division, and everybody's you're trying to take up. It's like I kind of, when I envision it in my mind, it's kind of like, you ever seen like that science trick where you have like a magnet and then you drop little iron specks and it kind of like creates these beautiful like spikes because the iron connects to each other.
I've seen a liquid version of, but I know what you're talking about. Kind of like that little game.
Yeah, and it just like it all like spirals out. It all divides and they all connect to each other. But you got to realize that we're all just a soup. It's all a soup. And that's the way it should be. Is you can have peas and carrots and potatoes, but the broth brings us together, and the broth is family. The broth is our, what we care about, and typically it's all going to be the same thing. Like if you strip away all the luxuries and all the fundamentals, what is it that we truly, really care about? We care about ourselves, we care about our family, we care about our neighbors, we care about our dog. We care about the connection to things that are important to us, and that's the broth. Everything else is just peas and carrots.
Yep.
So when people start to like get into this whole division realm with like, well, if you're not religious, you're in your science. If you're not science, then you're religious, and it's just a whole, what's the word? Radical. There you go. Where it's like everything's just turned radical. Like it's crazy. That's what I was telling you earlier. Is like we'll see how things go. Like right now, everything's getting exposed. Like with the Obamagate and the Democrats, how their game has been exposed and all this. But we're truly going to see how it turns out only when it turns out. And that's where I'm biting my nails, because people are just crazy right now with all this stuff and the separation. And
I think that's what it is. I think the media portrays people to be more divided than we really are.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Purposefully. And so people see it that way. Like, I can't believe those religious people are like that. I can't believe those, left-handers are like that. And they keep us as far away from each other as possible so that we don't communicate with each other. Right? And it has been arguing and shouting as of late, right?
Yeah.
So like my buddy in Austin does, he's an atheist. He's a great friend of mine. Super cool guy. I've stayed at his house before. I've lent him money when he needed it. You know what I mean? Like, just because he doesn't believe what I don't believe doesn't mean that I have to hate him or I want to destroy him. Like, he's a human being. He's a really cool guy. Right? But I see...
But you unfollowed him.
Yeah, because he posts things that are against my religion. Yeah. Like, if I post a picture of you with a target on your head, like, I'm just going to follow that guy. I think he's weird, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that. Like, if he's going to disrespect my religious beliefs, and that's kind of not being a cool friend, right? Because I wouldn't do that to him. But then I see that sometimes he doesn't have great luck. Right? And I feel like a very lucky person. It's funny, like the belief, because when I was a kid, I used to think, I have terrible luck, and I did. And then all of a sudden, I flipped it and I said, I have amazing luck, and I always do.
But luck is just opportunity and preparedness.
There you go.
That's
So
it.
it's not only a mindset shift, a lifestyle shift, and then everything else shift. So I see this guy, and he's having all these episodes of bad luck all the time. Like, okay, so my God is wrong. It's like incorrect. It's like false information. Maybe according to him, he has never said that. But maybe, right, based on his beliefs. But why do you always have bad luck? And then I'm like, well, let's say there was an abundant source of only good luck. Why would you not plug into that? Like, no, I don't believe in that. Like,
why?
But if
there was a slot machine at the casino that you win 100% of the time, if you just play it, why would you not play it?
Yeah, just to have that thing in your own self, like, yes, I
just so you can say, I'm right.
Just because this is what I believe and this is the way that it should. And again,
stubborn loyalty.
I'm looking, like, if you would just stop, try what I try or what I believe for 30 days, like a new diet. Just try it. Like, I'm a scientist, I'll try a different diet for 2 weeks or 30 days or a year before I decide, So I'm just like, if you really needed a miracle and he needed something amazing to happen in his life pretty quick, all you would have to do is just pray. Humble yourself, pray, miracles. Like, no. I'm like, okay. So, and I don't think that makes him a bad person, or it's weird.
Yeah.
But I don't hate him or judge him for it. Like, whatever. I know where to get all the miracles you ever wanted, but you don't want them. It's all good.
I'll take your miracles. You got them, I'll take them.
I just keep on walking in miracles every day. I know where to get a whole bunch more if you need any. But we believe in these.
But then it comes down to like, what's your definition of miracle? And that's like, a miracle is just something, your positive outlook on fortunate things that happen in your life. Miracles happen all the day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
You woke up this morning.
That's
a miracle.
Yeah.
You could have died, So it's just, changing your outlook, changing your mindset, and not focusing so much on the definition of words.
Mm-hmm.
Words are just freaking words, man. Like, look at beneath the words. Look at the attitude, the tone, the sentiment. Like, read into that instead of so much the definitions of things.
I think words don't have meaning, but they point us to certain things. So as a human being, that's how we interpret our environment.
Mm.
So the words point at something, but they don't entirely mean what they're pointing at.
Oh, before I was speaking of words, you said diet earlier. Tell me about your diet.
Can I give you like a 10-second backstory of why this would be so relevant?
Sure.
I was a kid. My uncle bought me a bodybuilding magazine. I was 12 years old. He brought me home a Flex magazine, Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover. He was the man.
Yeah.
The old magazine was in great condition, and I started reading about bodybuilding. For whatever reason, I don't know, my uncle got me this. I guess my uncle was into bodybuilding when he was younger. So he comes home with his Flex magazine, found it on a job site, and just gives it to me, and I just start combing through there, and I'm reading about all this creatine and electricity in the body, protein synthesis and disease, and like all this cell turnover, and I'm like, rabbit hole, bro, instant rabbit hole. Nobody had to...
Oh, there he goes.
So since I'm like 11, 12 years old, I started bodybuilding. By the time I'm 15, the kids at school are like, hey, steroids, I'm beating all the football players in arm wrestling. So I went high protein, high creatine. I've counted macros. I've been very, very lean. I've been very, very heavy. I've been massively overweight. So there's not a human form that I haven't existed in for a long period of time and had a lot of experience there. So at some point when I'm overweight, I'm drinking way too much. Life did not turn out how I wanted it to turn out. This is before the spirituality. This is before doing all that heavy internal work and all that. I broke my life. I broke my body. I destroyed myself. I wasn't happy with who I am. I was overweight. I was in a terrible relationship. And I felt like my life was coming apart. And I got to the point where it was so low. I said, this is how I die. I was that depressed. I said, this is how my life ends of this. And I said, I got sad about it for a long time because I'm like, this is where it all ends. And then something powerful happened, dude. In the Bible, it says that you have to die to this world, before you can enter the kingdom of God. And I don't know if that actually means a physical death, but at the point that I was ready to give up this body and just be dead now, there was a rebirth of sorts. Mm-hmm. Because I said, you know what? If I'm ready to die, if I'm willing to end it all right now, if this life is going to be over with now, I said, then what if I spent the rest of my life climbing as high and as fast and as far as I can? What would that look like? I said, yeah, it's a free shot. Because life was already over. This is my free shot.
I have nothing to lose. Let's just go for it.
I'm going to go straight for the clouds. And if I destroy this body shooting to the clouds and I just burst into flames, well, I bet you it's going to be badass. And ever since then, dude, I started learning.
What a glorious death that would be.
Shooting into the sky like Rocket Man and just shatter like a star, like an asteroid. So I got lost down the rabbit hole of fitness again, man. And I started learning about fasting and water fasting. How do you cleanse your body? How do you rebuild your nervous system? How do you build a cell? What are all the parts of the cell? How do you restore a cell? How can you reverse cancer? Just got mega obsessed. And this went on for years and years and years. So I'm like sitting at the computer, like drinking tequila out of a whole bottle, smoking joint after joint after joint, doing this research on how in the hell do you heal a broken body. Mm-hmm. So I started doing these juice fasts, not 40 days, 21 days, 23 days, 7 days on just water, 3 days on water, 3 days on juice, only vegan, raw vegan, only berries, all fruitarian. I started going down all these crazy health paths. Like I just took the information and I 100x'd it. And dude, I started losing like a pound a day, dude. My freaking skin's glowing. My eyes turned bright white. Like I started I got all the way down. I lost like 50 pounds.
And is this the meat diet you were telling me about?
This is going into the vegetarian part of my life. I told you it was like more of like a raw vegan. Yeah, so I'm doing all this juice fasting and so I did all this restorative work. That's what like my main focus was. Is like I need to fix this piece of junk because I broke it. So that's why.
And as in junk, you mean your body?
Yeah. So like it's our what do they call it? Meat suit.
Meat suit. So you're shoving a bunch of veggies down your meat suit.
Raw cheese, raw green juice. I mean, I'm going all out, dude. Water for 7 days, no food, and I'm high as a kite. I'm like Buddha. I'm freaking meditating. I'm like super slim in the face, skin's glowing, eyes glowing. I go into Walmart or Home Depot and people just stare at me like. And it took me a long time to notice it. I'm like, what the heck are they looking at? But then I just finally looked in the mirror one day.
You forgot to put your pants on.
Guy doesn't have shoes on. And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, holy crap, there's a different person in the mirror. Who is that? Right? It had come so far so fast. I didn't even know what happened. Well, anyway, that was like the high point of the fasting and the green juicing and why I ended up like Buddha, like I'm meditating for hours a day, dude, like spending a week or 2 weeks alone in isolation.
Then how did you get to the all meat diet that you're on now?
So I noticed that I felt a million times better, right? So I went from like in my whole entire life to like the best I've ever been. And it seems like after a while of being so long vegan and fasting and all that stuff, I felt like a little depression coming in. It's like 1% depression, 2% depression. I'm like, that's an interesting feeling. Maybe I'm not eating enough berries. Maybe I'm not eating enough B12.
Was it a sadness of just like you feel like you reached the envelope on this side and you kind of peaked? Because I see that with myself as well as an entrepreneur, an ADHD crazy man over here, that once I peak on something, I get bored and that boredom makes me sad and then I just want to do something else.
Maybe that was it. Maybe it was that little creeping sensation. It was something that just said, something's missing. That's what it could translate it to instead of depression. Like I said, it only points at something. But that's what it felt like. 2%, something's missing.
Yeah.
And I noticed, like, I felt strong as a nut because I felt fit. I was still doing CrossFit. I'm exercising. I'm running through all this veganism, right, or whatever you want to call it, vegetarian. It was nothing labeled. It was just raw foods and almost little to no meat.
And then 180 turnaround, you're just like, you know what? I know how to fix this. All meat.
So I noticed, like I said, the little light depression. I noticed lifting up heavy ladders. I'm like, man, I'm just not as strong as I used to be. Maybe because I haven't been working out as much. I need to lift more weights. I need to eat more beans and get my protein up or whatever. And I just noticed there was something missing again, even in my physical fitness, even if I was mega healthy doing CrossFit. And I saw an interview with Joe Rogan and a guy named Sean Baker. And Sean Baker, supposedly, he's an orthopedic surgeon. Dude's been only eating meat for like 2 years. And people are trying this diet, supposedly they're curing cancer, they're freaking curing autism, they're like, all this weird shit's happening.
Yeah.
The diabetes is getting cured, and you're like...
High speculation on this.
Everybody, right? Everybody? Like, it can't be true. Like, and then I started thinking about it. What if it was? What if it was? I said, let me try this. Let me just try to eat meat and fat. One day to the next, dude, literally went and bought like 50 steaks. Let's go, let's do this. And started eating only meat. I think that lasted about 60 days, at least 60 days of just only ribeye steak is what I was eating and nothing else. And I would notice from one day to the next, I feel so much stronger today. I feel so much better today. You know what? I don't need my afternoon nap. You know what? I feel like I can work forever. You know what? Okay, so what if this was placebo, right? I'm just imagining these things. A game changer for me. Because I had a ladder, bought a 36-foot ladder to get on a big commercial building. It was going to be a great job. We didn't get the job. But the ladder stayed thrown in my mom's backyard for about maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. And I never handled it because it was too darn heavy. Like, it took 2 people. My uncle would help me grab one in, try to get it up, muscle it up this building. Yeah. So the ladder stayed dead, thrown in the yard for years with leaves growing around it, bush, everything. I mean, it just stayed thrown because it was too heavy to handle. So I don't even remember how long I'm into this carnivore diet now. I'm only eating meat and fat. I'm feeling fantastic. Maybe it's placebo. I don't know. I feel great. Confidence. I can slowly feel my confidence going up every single day, just a little bit. And I needed that ladder. I forgot what job I needed it for. But I went and I picked up the ladder, grabbed it, started walking with it, threw it into the truck, put it up there, strapped it up, and I was like, I just moved the big ladder that I couldn't move. Whatevs. Went on throughout my day.
So the 2-person ladder, you did it with yourself?
By myself.
Because of the meat diet.
I don't know yet, right, at this point. So I get to my job, and I get my big ladder down, like nothing, throw it on the building, crank it up, handled it no problem, climbed up the building, check out whatever I had to check out. I got in, threw it back in my truck, and I said, I wonder where my big giant ladder is. Like the extra tall one. Where's my big ladder?
And that was the one.
It's probably at my mom's house. I was like, how did I end up with this ladder? And I got to my mom's house, and I noticed this is the big freaking ladder. Mm-hmm. Like, what the heck? So that's when I realized that it was not a placebo. Something's really going on here. I couldn't hardly handle it, and now I handled it so easily that I thought it was my lightweight ladder. So that wasn't just a little strength increase. That was a massive strength increase. And ever since there, man, I've been sticking with it. I have not been only eating ribeye now, so I probably eat 80% red meat and fat, maybe, you know. And everything else is kind of just whatever else it takes to keep me sane and keep me moving. If I got to pull over and grab a Whataburger and keep shooting down the road.
So as little carbs as possible. Is that what? How does this diet work?
Here's what I go based off, man. This is how I do everything. I go based on how I feel. Does it give me the warm and fuzzies? Does it make me feel high? I'm looking for an
So you just trust your body.
Yeah. I'm looking for an endorphin high. I really am. I want to feel amazing. I don't want to just feel pretty good. I want to feel amazing. I notice that when I do love carbs like everybody else, but as soon as I eat them, within 30 minutes, I feel like my superpower juice has been turned down 5 to 10%. It's like, every time. So now I think of carbs almost like a beer. Like I want to enjoy my carbs when I'm going to chill, and veg out, hang out with my family, somebody's birthday, I'm going to eat a piece of cake, I'm going to sit on the couch, I'm going to talk, I'm going to share. I don't want to eat a piece of cake when I'm on the way to a meeting or I'm about to walk in to close a deal. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have the juice turned down 5% at that given moment.
So 8 o'clock cake.
Just
before bed.
Whatever
cake before bed.
Absolutely, yeah. I do believe in that. So there's a guy, and I'm not good with names, but his program was called carb backloading. So that's what they would do, predominantly like a keto diet during the day, and then whatever carbs they were going to have for whatever their fitness goals were, they would have at the very end of the day right before bed. So you get that one giant insulin spike right before you go to bed, as opposed to the insulin spikes all day long. Yeah. So it's a more consistent diet, and I tried that for a while too. Yeah, you can get pretty lean on doing that.
Now, of course, we're not doctors. We don't know the science behind all this. It's just
two guys talking. Being in online, and to us when we grew up, like, don't show your face online and all that stuff, and so we still have that in us, like, oh, maybe the kids shouldn't be recording YouTube because they're kids, they're minors.
Yeah. Well, and that's the facet of change, right? It's like everyone, even our grandparents, were anti whatever wasn't their generation.
They would have said, don't get on that internet.
And I think like it was different for me growing up. Like I'm super adaptable. And I'm ahead of the times, because everything that's changing in directions, I'm like, how can I get ahead of that? And how can I get my son ready for get ahead of that?
Yes.
Instead of being like, no, that's not how it should be. It should be the way my childhood was. No, his childhood. Your childhood's gone.
This is growing
focus
fast,
and adapt. Buddy. Yeah. So like with him, like he wants to be a YouTuber. That's the way things are now. That's great. You know what? Do I wish that YouTube and all this didn't exist so you can go outside and play basketball with your friends like real people? But no, that's not the way it is nowadays. That's not our version anymore. That's our vision, not their version. So like with him, I'm super pushing him. You've seen his room. His room's already set up for his whole podcast. Like he's ready. Like so he's doing it, and I'm supporting him 100%, and even giving him guidance in the arena. So it's not like these parents that are just, they want their kid to be them. And it's like, no, let your kid be themselves, and you just support them in whatever direction they want to be.
No, you're kicking ass as a dad, man, and it shows. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, good dude. I think the same thing, man. I feel like we're moving from the analog world, and we're being digitized. And I think there's going to be the resistance. The people are like, that's not the way to go. That's dangerous. And I know maybe it is, right? Maybe we are going to meet our own demise. And kind of like Elon says.
Have you ever heard of Fermi paradox?
Probably, but I don't know.
So the Fermi paradox is, actually, it's not even talking about the Fermi paradox. Let's talk about like the broad scope of where civilization ends. And like scientists have gotten together and they've kind of formulated plans on like where things could end. We could be destroyed by ourselves or asteroids or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if we do survive long enough and get past that paradox, then where do we go from here? Do we all turn into just nanobots that literally just multiply and then spread throughout the universe like a plague? Or do we, there's another one that was pretty cool that I liked personally. And it was, you create a Dyson sphere around a star, unlimited power for billions of years, and you're literally tapped in. You're no longer organic. You're tapped into a matrix, not like the movie The Matrix, but like an actual matrix that you're living in, where I guess it is kind of like the Matrix. Mm-hmm. But you're not. It's not robots controlling your body, heat, and all that nonsense that doesn't even make sense. But it's actually, you're no longer organic. You've become digitized, and you live forever in this virtual reality that's, a computer software system that's literally built into a Dyson sphere around a star. And that's just like, man, like mind-blowing crazy stuff. And so, but literally, like, these people think of these crazy scenarios, and the more you think about it, it's like the more legitimate it becomes. But like science actually just came out with a paper stating that how this reality could not be a simulation. 'Cause I don't know if you heard that, right? Like people were saying this could be a simulation. Yeah, okay, so you have heard of it. Well, they're saying that there's just no way it can be. Sure, we can have multiverse situations going on, but not a simulation. So, I mean, who knows where things are going to go? And it comes down to like your spiritual talk. Like, if it was a simulation, why give up? Why not play this game the best you could? Like, as if it is an RPG on your Xbox. You know, get the best stats, get the most currency and get the most collectibles in your inventory. Get the rare items, you know, the legendary items. Why not do it that way? I don't know.
I really believe in that, man. I think like like we talked about. I think we talked about that a little while ago. Was that if this was a simulation, then or I mean, if it was not. The cool thing is that it does behave like one in a lot of ways. And again, it's like if you know that the something is there, why would you not participate, right? So let's say this was analog world, right? And I think it is, it probably is, especially according to my religious beliefs. I would kind of throw things off about what I believe or what I think I believe. But if this was a simulation, right? And like I said, like there's a lot of things observably that you would think like this could possibly be.
Yeah.
What if the rules still apply, right? What if this was analog world, but you can still do like the hack, like the game genie, and you can kind of press the buttons, hack into the system, make real cool, fun stuff happen, these great experiences. Like, why would you not play? Like you said, why would you not play?
Why not?
That's dumb. That's weird. That's right. If you could access these tools, even if we're in an analog world, if you can access the game genie to hack into this thing, like if it was a simulation, why would you not? That's a silly way to play.
Yeah, I mean. But if you want to break it down, like there are people that have played that. Like if you look at the analytics, if you don't think that a lot of these video games that you're playing and the long-running video games, if they're not analyzing the way you play, if they're not analyzing your choices and fitting you into a category of personality traits, you're missing out on all the back-end stuff that's really going on. They're studying you. And like, it's crazy. If you go play these games, if there's achievements to be done, people will go out of their way to get those achievements done. Even though it's like, my game is pushing me this way, I'm going to go way this way just so I can get this one little tiny achievement. Yeah, just to check the box. But when it comes to real life, nobody does that.
Nobody's checking those boxes.
Nobody checks those boxes. They'd rather just go sleep throughout the whole day and pretend the world doesn't exist. So what is it that separates the mind in a video game to get people to want to get those trophy achievements? But yet when you have those real life trophy achievements, like my Lamborghini or something, why are those not trophy achievements enough for people to get active, to try to check those boxes off? That always got to me. I don't understand it.
You know what? Maybe it's the least amount of effort for the most amount of reward. So they sit here and they can.
Have you not gotten some of these achievements on these games? They are, my God, like you're talking about breaking the controller, raging out. And stuff. Like, they're difficult. So
let's say your energy's here, and I can do it, and it's cold in here, and it feels great, and I'm so relaxed. I'm in my jammies. You can get all that serotonin right here.
Yeah.
But if you gotta actually get out, climb a ladder,
now I'm getting out of my comfort,
hurt your ankle, bust your leg. So I think people put more work into how to, like I said, kind of hack into this thing. They put more physical work into it. So they feel like, I don't want to hurt my back. I don't want to scratch my wrist, right? Doing these construction or anything that's profitable, right? Or that has to make you go out and go get the serotonin hits, right? Yeah. But then if you do play like if it is a simulation, then it's really, really easy. The going and getting. So now I make more money at 7 o'clock in the morning, sending text messages and emails like half asleep like this, than I ever did working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, busting my knuckles, hurting myself.
Yeah.
So they think this is easier, so I get all the serotonin I want sitting here, but I'm not going to go do that extra hard work. But to me, in my mind, there kind of almost is no hard work if you play the game the right way.
Play the right way, yeah.
And so now I'm starting to see that more and more. So I think if everybody knew that this thing had like video game-like behaviors, like this simulation or this reality acts like a video game, then more people would play.
And let me bring up the whole, because what you're talking about is what I call white collar strategies. Like that's you have your no collar, blue collar, white collar. So no collar are like people that service industry, like bottom of like the bottom, like young kids that are just starting out getting work, cleaning tables, doing that
stuff.
Then you have blue collar, which is skill jobs, skill labor, which is carpenters, all that stuff, all the fundamentals that makes a nation great. Then you have white collars, and white collars are all up here. Yeah, they don't get dirty, but they get dirty up here. And trust me, the reason, and this is one of my things that I kind of try to show people, is because I've done blue collar, I've done no collar, and I've done white collar. And I can tell you right now, white collar, that's going to take years off your life, more than any other facet, because it's mental game.
I get some of that. Get home and you're just like...
And so, like, all the blue collars, they always are like, my boss took another vacation. Look at this guy getting to enjoy his life. But you don't realize his life sucks.
Yeah.
Being white collar, his life sucks. He doesn't have a wife. He's divorced 14 times.
Drink a beer every day to get over that back pain.
That dude's probably working 200-hour work weeks, and you get to just work your 40 and go home and have a nice family and enjoy your life. This guy hates his life. He takes vacations because that's the only way that he stays alive.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, he's going to put a bullet through his brain. And so that's just kind of like the dividing line people don't understand, is you got to start to blur that. And I think with a lot of like these the Amway and all the viral marketing, like do-it-yourself kind of businesses that are coming along, I think that's kind of blurred the lines a little bit, where people are starting to see the sales side of it and get their business back office stuff, and they're starting to see the work also that goes into it, and they're like, you know what? Okay, I'm starting to see it. But they still have that animosity. Like, even in my family, like growing up, I remember my uncle. So my uncle is like the best contractor guy in the world. My Uncle Jay, dude can put up a house by himself faster, better than anybody I know. And the dude is like, does not cut corners. He does a great job. And he tried teaching me and my brother growing up. And my brother, Fernando, he's a hard worker, and he'll do it. And I'm not. So I'm very...
Knowing your strengths.
I'd rather be like, what machine can I create that can do this work for me? That's how I am. So, and my uncle hated it. My uncle's always like, he actually would talk down about me. He'd call me like a little slacker or whatever. But I didn't see...
hack the system.
I wasn't a slacker. I was a hacker.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. A slacker is someone that doesn't do anything. A hacker is someone that implements new strategies that does it more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So, becoming a hacker is the most effective part of my life. That's what's made me successful. Mm-hmm. But you still have those blue collar people that, even though I'm successful and they know where I came from Poorville, USA, they still look at you as if you're
still a slacker.
And it's like, I don't know how to get through to these people, but I don't know.
I kind of have the same relationship. I love my dad to death. Now we're really our best friends. But growing up, obviously, it wasn't always that way. But bless his heart. So I'm hitting these milestones and these achievements, right? Like, I went from like a construction worker putting in floors. If I made $1,000 in a week, I killed it. I absolutely killed it. I thought I was rich. And now, like, kind of where I keep leveling up a little bit in business, level up again. I'm kind of surprised how far I've come. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And like my dad, no matter what I do, I'll probably like become a billionaire, and he'll be like, I hope it works out for you, son.
Yeah, exactly. Still. We could be standing on Mars in my spaceship, and he'll be like, you could do better.
We'll be on Skype and Mars, like we're talking to him from Mars. We built the spaceship. My dad's at home. He's like, I hope it works out for you, son.
I terraformed a planet for you.
I built another planet.
That's funny.
I colonized Mars. He's super cool, but it's funny. Like, he wishes the best, but it's like he's not keeping track of how far I've come. So it's just funny to me. I think it's hilarious.
To me, I always tell people, like, especially with your kids, I can see the positivity when you don't give them what they want. They want so like, it's like when I was a kid and I just wanted to be accepted, to get my dad's, acceptance and all that. And I can see the positivity in giving your children, or not giving them their acceptance. Like, I can see the positivity in that, because it gives them something to fight for. If you just give them like acceptance and you don't spank your kids and all that, then they're going to turn into little undisciplined little shits, and they don't go anywhere, and they're slackers, true slackers. But if you give them something to fight for, and what they do is never enough until they get to a certain point in their life where it does impress you, And then you just tell them, I'm proud of you. And just something small.
Give them a nugget.
Yeah, give them a nugget. But I'm proud of you. You did well. But then also, what more could you do? You know, you've done great so far. But what else could you be doing? Instead of just being like, it's not good enough. Or being the opposite way, which is like, oh my God, you're so fantastic.
Much sharing.
You've done perfect. You're better than anybody in the world. All this stuff. I mean, you've got to find middle ground and just give them a nugget and a little bit of a push. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's parenting 101.
I was talking to my daughter last night. My oldest daughter, she's 13, and that was kind of just, I think we were talking about that. I'm like, I feel like I shouldn't have to coach you how to be great. Like I was like, I see the greatness in you, I recognize it. And I think it should like spontaneously become amazing, right? Because I kind of feel like and I say a lot of things like that, but I don't mean it like in a bragging sense or in an arrogant sense. I mean it like in a selfless way. Because I feel like I have become a lot more amazing myself, and I feel like it did happen spontaneously. And I expect that to happen to my daughter. Like with no instruction, no training, no book reading, no nothing. Oh, yeah. I'm just waiting for this super genetics. And I'm talking to her last night, and I said, you know what? I see the greatness in you. And I said, I think you're so amazing that I'm expecting you to just like level up to this, like your most powerful self spontaneously. I said, but I am your dad, and we are living in an analog world. I said, so maybe you could use a little bit of instruction. Yeah. We had a really good talk, man. But it's like, I really believe in her that way, and I see that in people, and I was like, I expect this spontaneous amazingness to arise out of anybody. I think I should. Like a flower would grow, like for sure, yeah, that's going to happen.
Well, great point right there is, actually, I just had this conversation a few days ago, and the conversation was literally this. I said, I figured out why people don't like me. Mm-hmm. And it's because, and everyone says I'm an asshole. That's what people say.
Because you are.
I'm an asshole, that's right. But it's not in a way where, it's because I'm not here to grovel for you. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to be your friend. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not here to, pamper and fluff your nuts. I'm not there to do that. I'm here to live my life the best I can. If my life casts a shadow on your life, you think I'm an asshole. And I think I was watching a video on YouTube, and it put it perfectly. And it was about Captain America. Mm-hmm. And Captain America, the reason why people don't like Captain America is because he's so damn righteous that he can't get out of his own way just to level with people. He has such high expectations for himself that he expects everybody else's self-expectations to be just as high as his. And that's where I'm at.
About Captain America.
Yeah, and so it's like even with what you were saying, like, why aren't you me yet? Like, why haven't you're my child, why haven't you blossomed into this greatness yet? Like, that's not how it works. And it's hard to separate that because we have such high expectations for our own lives that we just expect everyone else to be the same. And that's the great disconnect. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you want to think I'm an asshole and not be my friend because of it, that's fine, because I need less people that slow me down in my way. So
I call it dragging around dead bodies. So yeah. I've worked with all of my family members. I've been through thousands of contractors, right, to get to where I am now. And a lot of it was my own family members, man. And I do feel like no matter what, they were always doing a drug. They were always drinking, going to jail. And it's like I pulled them with me, hoping someday that this guy will blossom, right? And it never happened. It never happened to a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So my dad's like, hey, aren't you gonna give this guy a job? And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of dragging his dead body around. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it's about.
That's exactly what it is.
Just dragging dead body behind me. Like, at some point, I'm like, I'm done with this guy, And I expect people to blossom, and not everybody will. So now I'm a lot more greedy with my time. Yeah. I'm giving, probably the most giving I've ever been with my time. But I'm also now at this point in time, it's like I know how finite it is, and I only want to share it with certain people if I know it's gonna grow fruit. I don't want to be planting seeds in an asphalt parking lot.
That's actually a great saying that I wrote on my Facebook like 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's be a philanthropist with your money, be greedy with your time.
I like that. Yeah.
And ever since I've always been, I need to keep that on watch. That's great. Because you only have 24 hours. It doesn't matter how rich you are. You only have 23 hours and 56 minutes in a day. There's 24 hours doesn't exist. It's 23 hours and 56 minutes for those of y'all.
That's the exact number.
That's the exact number. So that's why we have leap year. Because there's a little bit of difference.
All that saved that day.
Yeah. But God, the dog. He's just lonely as shit. I don't know if you guys can hear the dog or not, but he's going crazy.
He's good. He's jumping in on the podcast.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. He's Mr. Muscle Guy, and he beat everybody in high school with the arm wrestle.
Used to be.
And I'm Mr. Flabby, literally haven't lifted. I've got a weight set right over there, and I bought, and I didn't even use it. So, let's try this out.
Oh, no.
All right.
I'm going to hurt myself. I haven't arm wrestled in a long time.
All right.
Ready?
I already feel his grip. He's ready for this. Go. Oh, man. That dude's a winner. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. Of course, you know me, Justin Kane, Alba Wealth Builders, and
Anthony Gaona. I'm just the guy.
Well, what's your YouTube channel?
If you go to Anthony Gaona Investments, maybe that's my Instagram. Just look up Anthony Gaona, guys. I'm on there. I'm wearing some sunglasses.
And it's Anthony Gaona. It's Gaona.
Yeah, thank you. That's the most hard spelling ever.
We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Bye.